Hey guys, and welcome to Ask Mark number 30 something. I'm pretty sure it's 37.
6? I don't know. I thought 6 in my mind.
Well, 6, 7, whatever. Happy Ask Mark.
Mid-30s. No one pays attention to your mid-30s.
Exactly.
It's just, you're 30-something and then you're 40, and that's when life starts.
Yeah, or ends in some cases. You know, you go downhill.
God, that got dark real quick, this episode.
Well, the coffee that I have made for myself has not yet gone properly into my system, so it's going to be a rather morbid first couple of questions, guys. No. Anyway, happy Friday to everyone. You're listening to this, happy Friday. If you're watching this, happy Friday. It's the weekend. Woohoo! If you're watching this on a random Wednesday at 3:32, you're halfway through the week. Yeah. You're halfway through the week. Anyway, Mark. How the dickens, how the devil are you, young sir?
I'm good. Yeah, excellent. All is well. Getting ready to go to Londinium. Do some filming with you, which will be interesting.
Yeah, not for scuba though, so don't get excited, guys.
No, it has nothing to do with scuba diving. But yeah, first time I've properly left the house, not to walk the dogs or go to the shops or anything, but yeah, go to another city. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, will be very, very exciting. I'm excited as long as the weather stays all right and we don't get flooded. We should be fine.
Yeah, I hear that's a thing in quite a few places around the world, from China to Germany, New York. There was a great picture someone uploaded, I can't remember where, and it was when the Japanese subway, when that flooded, and it kind of looked like a swimming pool. The water was so clear, and then they're like, this is when the New York subway flooded, and it's just brown.
I saw it. It was quite funny. It wasn't funny. Obviously, flooding isn't funny. Sean, shut up.
No.
But there was one clip I saw, and it was they went through. It was all flooded, and then they went into this shop, and it's basically a gaming shop. And they went in there. They went into the back room, and everyone's playing games whilst in the facility. All the CPUs and stuff have been elevated above the water, and they're all just sat there. I think they're all in their swim trunks, just playing away. It's okay, fair enough. Fair enough, guys. There we go. So that was Ask Mark for the week. Flood news. No, let's crack on.
If it floods completely, it would be an interesting dive. You could get flooded subway diver speciality. That would be quite interesting.
I'm sure Paddy are thinking about that right now. Let's be honest with them. Anyway, that's a whole nother subject to annoy a certain part of the scuba diving community. So we'll worry about that later. Let's jump straight into El Questorinos. So number one is from Vladimir. He says, thank you for your content. Because of it, I flew to Colombia, to learn to dive. Excellent, that's good to hear. Did my open course, doing my advanced now. Nice one. And starting rescue/dive master right afterwards. So yeah, you're hitting, you got the right momentum. You're not taking about 6 months off and then thinking about it, forgetting about it, and then going, scuba diving, let's do a real sport. It's a good thing that you're you're hitting the notes one after another. So well done for that. Anyway, here's the actual question. It says, I was wondering if I can ask about twin hose regulators and if you have an opinion on the Hollis SMS 100 versus the SMS 75, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
So what are they?
So twin hose regulators. You either mean proper retro twin hose regulators where you get the two corrugated hoses. Your first stage and your second stage are basically built into one thing, and that attaches onto the back. They're cool. I don't think I've ever dived open circuit with them. I've obviously closed circuit uses a similar kind of system.
Yes, my rebreathing.
Take my monocle off. No, but yeah, they're cool. They definitely work. You do have to be a bit more regimented because that's a lot of air volume to clear if you ever need to. But for photography, it's quite a cool idea because it all sort of vents behind your head. But yeah, you don't get any kind of purge button to clear it out if you need to. And they're kind of hard to get hold of. I think only a handful of manufacturers make them. I know Aqualung used to make it was like a tornado or something. They called it, or cyclone, something along those lines. I'm not sure if they still make it. They didn't import it here into the UK. Or if you're talking about twin hose regulators. So yeah, the retro style. They're cool. I think they've kind of had their day. I don't think anyone's sort of making any sort of new ones because yeah, traditional open circuit is so good and it does the job. But yeah, if you're into your sort of vintage stuff, people still dive them. I think you can still get replacement parts for them because people love all that kind of stuff. So yeah, if you're into it, do it. As far as the Hollis SMS 100 versus the SMS 75, I don't think they make either anymore.
Fantastic.
I actually have. I know. The newest version is called the Katana, or the Katana 2, I think is the most up-to-date version. I actually have a SMS 100 right here. It's not really the modern style. It was kind of at that age of everyone was just back mounted, and it was only the sort of like cave explorers that were on side mounts. And then when it got into more sort of open water and more sort of recreational divers were going, oh, side mount, that looks kind of cool. They kind of created the SMS 100, which was just a donut style wing, and you had these kind of rails at the back that you could clip off onto, and that's how I learned how to side mount. But since then, the technology and the designs have progressed a lot. So actually, no. I mean, SMS was kind of halfway in between, but the Katana is the modern version. So if I was just choosing between the 100 and the 75, I'd go down the 75. But if it was open to anything, I'd go down like a modern route, like I don't know, X-Deep Stealth or the Katana. Yeah.
Yeah, while you were... I was going to say, while you were having a turmeric about that, I just did some research, and there are bits and bobs out there, but you can tell it's end of line, and a lot of the links take you direct to the Katana.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's had its day. It's basically a big, almost twin wing, but with like the profile of a single cylinder wing.
Okay.
It's not really modern, as it were. The 75 was getting towards what most side mount divers use, but nowadays with side mount wings, go for something like a Apex WSX 25 or the 45, or the X-Deep sort of Stealth or whatnot, or the Katana, because it's adjustable. You can adjust each sort of part of it, and you just get better control. Whereas the other ones are just a bit more stitched together, so it's like small, medium, or large.
Cool. All right. Hope that helps you out, Vladimir. Do you guys, anyone out there, still on that twin hose? Do you still dive on that? I'd love to hear your stories below, please. And again, if you any other BCDs or wing backplates, whatever similar to the SMS that Mark didn't mention, let us know in the comments. The more information we can give each other, the better we will be. Anyway, question number 2 is from Benjamin. He says, what about goggles that don't cover the nose and use a nose clip, obviously, to do that? Does this affect pressure diving after 25 plus feet? I've recently grown a beard and would like to keep it. Well,
Gotcha.
Don't grow a beard, mate. Don't be one of those sheep. Be one of the cool kids.
It really wouldn't be worth it. I mean, I remember after I learnt to dive, I then went to like a public swimming pool or something just with normal swimming goggles and doesn't cover up the nose. And I think I dove down to like 3 meters, and even that pressure change was enough to suck them into my sockets, and they were quite uncomfortable because you need to breathe out through your nose to equalize that squeeze. So no, I think some freedivers do have that style, but there's very minimal airspace, and I think some of them you can either actually like fluid fill them, so you can still actually focus underwater, but there's no actual airspace. So the technology does exist, but it's more for like extremes, not just because you get a little bit of water in because of your mustache. No, it is better to cover up your nose. That way, one, you can equalize that squeeze, you can clear the mask if it does let any sort of water in, but yeah, the pressure is gonna it's gonna suck, quite literally. Suck that into your eye socket, and you'll come out just looking like a raccoon.
Oh mate, raccoons are cool, so do it, guys.
Oh yeah, it's a statement.
Oh dear.
But no, you could probably hurt yourself quite seriously if you took just a pair of swimming goggles and dove them down to 20-30 meters. Yeah, that would hurt.
Guys, do you wear swimming goggles scuba diving? There's probably not a lot of you, to be honest with you. Or
No.
you did it once and now you're blind. Let us know in the comments below, please, on why that is all there.
I mean, if you are struggling, I've actually seen, I mean, I did a video months ago about how to dive, and I basically say just use your beard balm, and that creates a bit more of a seal. But actually, I've seen somewhere, it's a bit like a chapstick, and it's literally like a silicone sealant, like gel. And yeah, it's made to make your mask seal a bit better. So yeah, maybe that's a better option. I've never thought about putting silicone grease on my top lip. I can't imagine getting that off afterwards. But yeah, maybe that's an answer.
Something better, just use super glue to seal it. There's nothing wrong with that. Or just shave your beard. Just admit defeat.
I think everybody who can grow a beard knows that that's not an option.
Shots fired. I knew that was coming, but I just wasn't
It's
ready.
a low blow.
Hey, it's what we used to hear. I like low blows.
It's all right. It's all right. When you get into your 20s,
I'm going to have to go minus a couple of years for that. Anyway, question number 3. Let's move on from the bullying. Even though I started it, but we're not going to talk about that. Right, so this is from a YouTube user. I wonder if that's the same YouTube user as last week, or it's a different YouTube user.
I don't know. It could be. I've seen these about, and it's literally just the YouTube, the like old square logo, and it's just YouTube user. I don't know if that's just very clever or whether that's just they're in anonymous mode or something.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Anyway. They say, do I really need a crotch strap? I don't know why I messed that one up. Do I really need a crotch strap on my backplate system setup?
Yeah, for a few reasons, yeah. With most sort of BCDs, if they with a jacket style BCD, one of their main benefits is when you're on the surface, when it's fully inflated, it kind of inflates around you, and that's kind of a blessing and a curse. If it's too much, it can kind of squeeze you so you can't breathe, but actually it's kind of holding you in position. So even when it's fully inflated, it kind of holds on to you. So even though you're wearing a weight belt and the BCD wants to go up, your body wants to go down. So you see a lot with kids with BCDs that don't quite fit. When they're on the surface, the shoulder straps are up here, and it's kind of floating, and they're just kind of like just above the water. But with a wing style, of course, all the inflation is behind you, so it holds you in that horizontal position. But when you're on the surface trying to stay upright, it wants to go up. If you're wearing a weight belt, not integrated weights, then you're pulling down. So it can start to ride up. So it's quite nice to have that crotch strap just to really sort of anchor you in position. But also if you're diving with a DPV, a diver propulsion vehicle, clip it off to the D-ring on the bottom of the crotch strap, and it kind of pulls you along through that. It's not uncomfortable. It's kind of the best way to do it. Otherwise, you're clipping it off to a shoulder D-ring or something, and you're just being yanked around by that. But no, if you do it on the crotch strap, it's a nice sort of central center of your body to literally just sort of pull you around, and it's quite comfortable. And it gives you some extra storage options. You do get that D-ring on the front. No one really uses it because it's not the most convenient place right under your navel. But you do get some in the small of your back. If you dive like an X-Deep backplate or something, you have the Y-shaped one, so you actually have 2 D-rings to clip off to. If you just have a single D-ring like I dive, then yeah, you just get that small D-ring in the small of your back, and that's quite a convenient place just to put stuff out of the way. You can still move around. It's not going to get caught on anything because whatever's there is just going to dangle kind of between your butt cheeks, basically. And and it's out of the way. It's streamlined as well, but it's readily available. So yeah, if you do get the choice, a crotch strap does make a big difference. But when you're getting kitted up, it's often oh god, I've got to do that again. You've got to reach, grab it, and then put it over your waistband.
Cool. To abbreviate that question, yes.
I actually dive with 2 because my dry suit.
Oh
has
yeah,
a crotch strap,
he's gloating now. I need 2 because I'm so big.
So my dry suit, so that's telescopic, so I have 1 crotch strap, then I put my BCD on, and then I have to get my other crch strap.
No wonder you walk so funny.
I know, like a cowboy.
There we go. Okay, cool, nice one.
And given the choice, get the widest crotch strap available. They come in like 1 inch, 1.5 inch, and 2 inch. 2 inch makes a world of difference. That old like force pressure area triangle you learnt from physics. Yeah, it's the widest area possible.
And
makes it more comfortable.
And take a pillow with you, put that in between, and you'll be fine.
They're not that bad. They're not uncomfortable.
I'm sure they're not. There we go. Hopefully that helps you out, anonymous YouTube user. Let's jump on to question number 4. It's from Kevin. I really want to input Kevin from Home Alone, so maybe I did that. You'll see that in the edit.
Oh, I went to Final Space.
Oh, okay.
The annoying robot.
That's how our minds work, guys. That's how our minds work. Anyway, Kevin says, if I'm open water certified and I go to 60 feet, is there an officer at 61 feet waiting to ticket me, arrest me, shoot me if I resist?
So if you go beyond your depth limit, no, there's no like scuba police or something.
Isn't there sharks with lasers that swim up?
No, it's kind of worse. It'll be your insurance adjuster or whoever it is, because a lot of insurance policies in their terms and conditions in the small print, it's based on your training qualification, basically. So if you go beyond that, you're basically uninsured. So if something goes wrong, even if it has nothing to do with going down deep or whatever, they'll basically look at your dive profile on your dive computer and go, no, we're out. You cover the costs. So yeah, if you went on like a nice easy dive, you dove down to 61 feet, and then came back up, and then I don't know, you got stabbed by a stingray or something, then no, they go, oh no, actually, sort of on that, you were diving beyond your limits. You could have been suffering from nitronarcosis or something, impaired, and all that kind of stuff, and they're just like, no, you're out, and so then you have to pay for everything.
And they'll probably do that afterwards. Knowing insurance companies, you're probably like, oh, you fell over and broke your arm after the fact. You've had a few or whatever. They'll look back and go, well, actually, no, because you went down that little bit deeper, you obviously still had effects from it, so we're not covering you. So
Yeah, I mean, I heard. I mean, this is pure like hearsay, and it could be an urban myth.
you
but
heard it here
diver was-
first on Simply Scuba. This is fact. This is 100% true.
No, it was a diver. He was struck by a boat on the surface, and then afterwards, when they literally they take all of your gear, and they sort of keep it to one side, and then they break it all down, and they found that there was like an incorrect O-ring or something ridiculous inside the first stage, and they went, oh no, equipment malfunction. Could have been the cause, where he had to ascend inappropriately, and they sort of focused all on this, and it, yeah, all that kind of stuff. It's really not worth it.
That dodgy,
But
mate.
what is important, but what is important is that you're at least honest after the fact. If you're on a dive boat and they have that dive log where you write down your maximum depth and your dive time, it is important to actually write the correct information there than to like save your sort of embarrassment or whatever. Because if anything does happen, they're going to use that to work out your decompression if they put you in a chamber. So it's important to write the correct information there, as much as you want to avoid the insurance company and whatnot finding out. I mean, there are insurance companies. Last time I checked Dan, the Divers Alert Network, they're not too fussed if you sort of go deep. They're more focused on let's get you sorted out than, oh no, technically you went to 60.1 feet. I think they're a bit more sort of switched on to, no, actually we need to help this guy out. But it is important to be honest, because that could be the difference it takes to have a positive outcome. But yeah, no scuba police at 61 feet writing you tickets or anything. But yeah, do your best to sort of stick within your limits.
Yeah. Has there been an incident, the people of the wonderful world of YouTube, where that's happened to you? You've dived a little bit deeper and your insurance company have just gone, no, we're not like. Has there been any incidences? I'd love to hear your thoughts and share your stories below, because again, it just helps other people and other divers realise the scenario and the situation. So yes, share your stories below about scuba diving. Nothing else dodgy about your insurance claims, please. Thank you. We got to keep this. It's a family show, as they say. Well, a teenage show, I would say. Young adult, maybe.
Yeah.
Young adult. Anyway, next question is from. Hopefully, this is their genuine first name. Doggo Potato 8.
The Doggy Potato 8.
Yeah.
The eighth of their name.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully that is your real name. If it is, hello. They say, I was diving 12 pounds a year later. A year ago, I'm guessing. And I'm in the same place and the same gear, and I gained 10 pounds, but I'm using 6 pounds. Why?
Okay, so I was diving 12 pounds,
Yeah.
a year later, I'm in the same place in the same gear, and I gained 10 pounds, I presume in body weight, but now I'm only using 6 pounds of lead. Why? That's how I read it.
Well, if that's how you read it, then that's how it is.
I hope that's what you mean.
Well, he's a dog. I think, considering he's a dog, he typed pretty well, or they typed pretty well, so...
So if you're diving in the same place, the water salinity hasn't changed or anything, your gear hasn't changed, you have put on weight. If that's muscular weight, then that's probably why, because muscle does not float. If you are incredibly lean, then you actually need less weight to get down.
I have to dive with helium. I'm so ripped.
So negatively buoyant, you just sink. So it could be that. If it's not, then it could just be natural progress, where when you first start to dive, you're naturally a little bit apprehensive, so you tend to hold a little bit of a deeper lungful, so you end up needing a bit more sort of weight to actually get you down. As you progress, you're learning techniques on how to actually get rid of every last drop of gas out of your BCD, so you don't need quite as much lead, and it's all that kind of things. And as you progress, when you start off, you normally need a bit more than usual of lead to actually sink, and then as you progress, it naturally does start to drop off until you do find that plateau of, okay, this is exactly how much lead I need. It could be, if you are diving the same wetsuit very, very frequently, it could be that your wetsuit has literally compressed. Because this is literally if you're diving like 3 times a day, 5 days a week or something, it could be that, because neoprene, as you dive down, because it's made up of thousands of little bubbles, it does naturally compress, get thinner when it's at depth, and then when you come back up, it sort of puffs out again. But if you do that again and again and again and again, eventually it is just going to get thinner and thinner, and you will find that wetsuit, it's normally, if a wetsuit's about 5 years plus, then yeah, okay, when you bought it, it was 5 mil, but now it's actually close to a 3 mil. In 1 year, I'd be impressed if that was the case. You'd have to be doing a lot of diving to stress that neoprene out to actually crush it. But it could be that, because at the lowest depth, then yeah, your wetsuit is literally thinner, so it's less buoyant, and you need less lead to get it under the water. But more realistically, it's just you progressing naturally and becoming a better scuba diver, being more relaxed whilst you're diving, so you actually need less lead to get down. Or you've been hitting the gym, gained those 10 pounds, getting your gains in, and muscle sinks. So that's why you need less lead.
That's why I can't go diving, mate. I'll go straight to the Titanic. I'm so ripped, mate. Yeah. It's just hard. Like, I'm so lean, I can't even go up the stairs.
While I was on holiday, I took a bunch of students out to Egypt, and we were just mucking around on the final day, just around the pool, and someone sort of called over and was like, "Oh, can you teach this guy how to like float, do a survival float?" I was like, "Yeah, you just literally just sort of lay back." Lung full of gas, that's about 2 litres, so positive 2 kilos of buoyancy. Most people will float. But the guy, he was very lean. I think he was like a Ironman or something, a triathlete or whatever. So very little body fat index, whatever they call it. So yeah, he did that and just bloop, just sunk. Muscle does not float. So
There we go, guys. This is going to sound horrible, and I don't mean to offend anyone, but if you're ever in an accident on a boat and it starts sinking, just aim for the fattest person and hold on to them.
Sort of.
Hey, just saying, mate. Just saying. Anyway, swiftly moving on before we get complaints. We have the last question.
No, it's body positive.
Body positive.
We're saying that
it is a good thing.
It's a benefit in this instance.
Exactly. Anyway, last question is from Kyle. He says, my wife and I both have a problem. I don't think we're that sort of show. I think you might need to talk to a specialist, Kyle.
Yeah.
Scuba diving only, please. Yes, thank you. Anyway, he says, near the end of the dive, we get extra buoyant on our backsides. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It feels like someone's attached a string to our butts and is pulling us up. Oh, yeah. This is while we're at 3 meters near the end of the dive. We both use aluminium 80s. Could we just be out of trim? I'm reasonably sure we're not underweight.
Yeah, I think it's the aluminium tank becoming a problem, because when you breathe down Ali 80s, they do get to a point where you reach a threshold and it actually becomes positively buoyant. So your cylinder literally wants to float. So that's what's bringing your sort of backside up. You can trim it. I've seen quite a few divers, if they're diving aluminium twins, they actually put block lead on a cam band at the base of the tanks. So that trims it out, makes it a bit more sort of negatively buoyant at the tail end. So yeah, I think that could be your answer. I mean, ankle weights as well, but that's probably a little bit extreme. They're not always the most comfortable neither. But yeah, just get a cam band. They're pretty cheap. Just attach some lead onto that and just clamp it at the bottom of the cylinder, and that should help out. Yeah, just sort of move that lead a little bit. But yeah, I reckon it is the Ali 80 that's becoming buoyant and wanting to float up, and that's what's lifting your backside up.
Or to alliterate to the previous question, you need to squat more. It's your butt. You just need to do more squats.
Yeah,
every dive
just
check,
some calf raises.
That's it, mate. Off the side, like when you do your checks. Right, guys, time for the squats. There you go. That's my input. I'm so glad I could help with that.
But yeah, I mean that is a problem. That's why a lot of side mount divers, they'll have a sliding D-ring on their waistband for their aluminium cylinders, so that they start off sort of relatively high or sort of around their back, because the aluminium cylinder wants to sink, but as you breathe down that gas volume, eventually the aluminium wants to float up. So then they move the D-ring down to kind of bring the bottom of the cylinder, keep it down, sort of trim in line with their body. So yeah, that's one of the sort of blessings and curses of Ali tanks. Steel tanks, they're negative when they're full, and they're still negative when they're empty, but they're really heavy to lug around. Aluminium cylinders, they're negative when they're full, but some of them are actually positive when they're empty. So yeah, they do end up floating. It's kind of cool sometimes if you have decent surface support. If you're diving side mounted stages, and you don't need it anymore, you can literally unclip it and just let go, and it kind of floats up like a balloon, and then they collect it, hopefully.
And then on that day, you realise you swapped it for steels, and it sinks, and you're like, oh man. And you have to shout out, what? Because in golf, you have to shout out 4, so you've got like, 5, and you'll be all right. And that is it, guys. That is this. We end this on a serious note, as always, with Ask Mark. That is it. We are done for another episode. Episode 36, 37, 31, 32, 1 million. Who knows?
We'll cut that.
Who cares? We won't. I only cut the beginning and the end, Mark. That's how I roll. Anyway, roll on the outro.
So yeah, if you have any questions, comments, queries, or even corrections about anything that you've heard, then let us know down in the comments below. Try and use the hashtag AskMark, just makes it a lot easier for us to find. And yeah, we'll get on it for next week's show. Thank you for listening, everybody. If you have... what am I talking about? I'm going to the merchandise side of things. There's a new element that I'm going to get onto in a second.
What?
And I haven't got into the routine yet. But yeah, if you're interested in some Simply Scuba merchandise, like buying this Cave Shark t-shirt that I'm wearing at the moment, you can get this from our Springs account. If you're watching this on YouTube, there's going to be a banner underneath this video. Just click on that and have a look around. We sell all sorts of interesting scuba diving merchandise. Don't forget to head over and check out 2 Minute Beach Clean. You can download the app. There's an app where you can basically clean up your local area, take a photo, and it's a whole community that just sort of shares inspiration and sort of tips on how to sort of clean up your local area. But they also have installed all sorts of cleaning stations all around the world. Actually, no, correction. I think that's just in the UK. But yeah, it's definitely, you can edit that. Don't worry about it.
No. No.
So yeah, if you have bought anything from simplyscuba.com and it's arrived in a cardboard box, it's got this 2 Minute Beach Clean all over it with a whale. If you've never really sort of understood sort of what that is, that's actually one of our partnered charities. So yeah, doing something to sort of clean up the local area. Yeah, don't forget to check out simplyscuba.com. We sell all sorts of interesting scuba diving equipment. New stuff is being added every single day, so definitely worth checking it out. Thank you for watching, everybody, and of course, safe diving.
Stay classy as scuba divers.